So complete 1 month. It was 10 games to be really precise. It started with Northern Ireland in Belfast, and it was 2 games India lost. Then a 5-match T20I series in mainland England, where it started with Durham. Obviously, that game abundant due to rain. So yeah, that was the only thing where there was no result. Apart from that, if you see, 2 loss in Northern Ireland, then 4 loss as far as T20 series is concerned, and then only 1 win in Birmingham as far as this whole tour is concerned. Starting with Belfast to London Lords, and only 1 win in last 1 month. So when you start this particular series, I never thought at that point of time that it will be this kind of result as far as this team is concerned. It was from any scenario, it was not a team where you can say that this is second fiddle team. The T20 series we played in Belfast, it started with obviously under the new chapter. As far as Shreyas Iyer is concerned, he was appointed as new captain. India coming after winning the T20 World Cup, first team to win it back to back, first in 2024 and then in 2026. And after that, there was a change in captaincy. We saw Surya Kumar Yadav going out and Shreyas Iyer coming in. But the thing is only about the adaptability. When it comes down to Belfast, obviously the ground dimensions, the wind, the weather, and most importantly, the way we played in that particular series, it gave us a sense of idea that we are not prepared for conditions like these. And that's what happened in the whole tour. Again, when the 5-match T20 series started from Durham also. So in Durham also, you batted, don't able to ball at that point of time. But again, not a very convincing performance if you leave out Abhishek Sharma. And Abhishek Sharma is the only batter. If you talk about the T20I 2 matches T20I series in Belfast, and after that when you start the T20 series in England also, then only it was only him and his performance which was making the headlines, and you can count in positive side. Apart from that, obviously there was one very highlighting point was Vaibhav Suryavanshi. When will he going to get a debut cap? And that happened in Manchester also, but there was a lot of buzz. He started smacking Jofra Archer 6 in his very first ball, when he faced Jofra. But again, it wasn't about hitting sixes. If I'm not wrong, 6 sixes in those 3 games. But it wasn't about hitting sixes. It was about, can he score runs in these kind of conditions? So if you sum out the 7-match T20I matches, 2 in Northern Ireland and then obviously 5 in England, it was all about the short ball ploy. It was all about, can our batters score runs in the square area of the wicket? Can our batters face this kind of pace attack in these kind of conditions, and can they adapt? Answer is a clear no. The way we played, the way we performed in that particular series, it didn't give us any kind of positivity as far as our batting is concerned. Yes, as I said, that Abhishek Sharma was a positive point. Shreyas Iyer is also, the way he played the short ball stuff, the way he was brilliant against spinners. We all know that one batter who played Adil Rashid without any kind of trouble, obviously that was Shreyas Iyer. So when it comes down to T20 series, it was a pretty bad experience as far as from a fan point of view also, and from a journalist point of view also. I can say that it wasn't something which gives you any kind of multiple silver linings. So that was not what we expected as far as this Indian team is concerned. Coming to the ODI series, yes, they practiced. They came for a practice session, match day -3, match day -2, match day -1. Rohit started things, with fielding, a lot of focus on fielding. Virat batted really well. If you see the Cardiff game, if you see yesterday's game, day before yesterday's game also, it was not a bad game at all for Virat Kohli. He took his time, and the way he was batting, it looked like that, if he had got any more time, थोड़ा सा और वक्त अगर उन्हें मिलता, तो it could be a completely different game if you talk about Virat Kohli. So for me, the ODIs was more about again adapting to the conditions, and more importantly, the way we lost the Cardiff game, because it was the middle over phase. It was the kind of bowling attack we have, little bit of inexperienced bowling attack, and then you can see all around that if you doesn't have a Jasprit Bumrah in your bowling lineup, it will look very ordinary. And in Lords, where you have bowlers, who don't have experience specifically in bowling in that Lords wicket, which has a slope, it's going to be really difficult, and that's why that 387 runs, and your batting did well, but yeah, a lot of injuries also part of the series. So when you talk about these kind of things, it completely gives you a picture around that. Yes, injury things is one of the most important things we have to manage going into the World Cup, as Shubman Gill also said about that. You cannot play 11 games in a trot if you are not able to play 3 or 4 games in a series. So that was I think for me the most important point of the series. We have to take care of the injuries, and we have to be very much adaptable as far as this particular series is concerned.
Welcome to Rev Sports. I am now. I have been here for 60 days. Currently, I'm in Scotland, Glasgow, but 60 days spent in UK. Not great as far as women's cricket is concerned. I can't even say it's mixed because let's start from the beginning. We came here to play a 3-match T20I series against the hosts, England, and when I say hosts, it's the hosts of the World Cup. And then, of course, the World Cup warm-ups, World Cup, and then the Lord's Test. So let's begin from the beginning. And when I'm reviewing the entire series and the first game, it started on a great note. I think the way Yastika Bhatia batted, the way Jemmy batted, 180 on board, England couldn't chase, and that's where you felt like England was not sure of their playing 11, but India seemed pretty assured, apart from the fact that Yastika batted well, which in the hindsight became a bit of a headache. Should have been a good headache, became a bad headache. And it is not Yastika to be blamed, so please don't say that, please don't attack any players. Second T20I in Bristol, slowish track, and I think that has been a feature in England. The tracks have slowed down. The ball is holding on. The spinners are doing well. No doubt, if you look at the ICC T20I bowling rankings in women, you will see 3 of the England spinners there. Well, from there, second T20I, we lost at Bristol. We couldn't chase the target. And from that, we moved to Taunton, where you expected Taunton has a lot of history as far as women's cricket is concerned, with Mithali Raj scoring that 214 not out, and back then it was the highest individual score, and especially because there was a Lord's Test to follow, so it was all set for the final T20I of the series, which we saw Heather Knight and Alice Capsey played so well, but the bigger problem was our bowling issues had started showing. Yes, there was a Kashvi Gautam missing. There was, more importantly, I think there was an Amanjot Kaur missing because of the injury. But it did seem like, India was not sure of their playing 11 in that series. India was still experimenting. Come the warm-up games, you thought India would have fixed their playing 11 because every other bigger nations, be it Australia, be it England, started to get their best playing 11 correct. But India probably didn't, So in the first warm-up game, India played against West Indies. Bharti Fulmali played a good knock, but I don't think she really played that finisher role. Richa was somebody you wanted Richa to play the finishing role, but till then, Richa was not getting runs, and that had become a worry. A pattern that Rev Sports have been continuously talking about. There was analysis on that. Give Richa a few deliveries to settle in, and then let her go for runs. But somehow the team management was yet to do it. Against West Indies, we won that match. Then our next warm-up game was against the host England. So this was the 4th game that we were playing against England, and we lost that game as well. The top order couldn't make any mark, but the biggest positive of that game was Richa Ghosh. Because Richa came in, got some time to settle in, and once she was settled, there was no stopping her. She almost took India close to the winning, winning target. But ultimately, you have to say that you played hosts for against the host England. 4 games, 4 T20Is, and you lost 3-1. Yes, the warm-up game does not count among the official T20Is, but the result. And the bigger thing was none of the matches had the same playing 11. That's a problem. And that problem we did not want to. Snehashish and I, if you have been following women's cricket coverage, which I know you guys have been because a lot of comments have come in, we were hoping that India has got their fixed playing 11. Come Pakistan game, we did not, Pakistan was our first game. We did not see Yastika Bhatia, we did see Bharti Fulmali. But Pakistan game, again, we were saved by those last 2 overs when it comes to batting. And then, as a whole, Pakistan in the power play was ahead of us. But once Deepti Sharma started striking, the only match that Deepti actually bowled like Deepti Sharma, the standard of Deepti Sharma, we, crossed that game. And then what happened? The story unfolds. Netherlands, we won, but the game that we needed to win, against South Africa, because South Africa had a horrific start against Australia, is where we messed up. We messed up in the fielding, we messed up in the bowling, and Marizanne Kapp, an experienced campaigner, stepped up. We won against Bangladesh, but the match that we played against Bangladesh kind of showed how we were, we were still far away from our A game, and we needed A+ at Lords against Australia, and we failed. We failed to bring our A+ game. We were ousted in the group stage of the World Cup. If I have to review the entire team's performance, T20 team's performance, you need to change the leadership group. When Jemimah Rodriguez was struggling, it's not like Jemimah is not a T20 player. She has played fantastic innings for Delhi Capitals. She has played match-winning knocks for India. But she was struggling on that day. You never tried the retired out. In the 20th over, I'm not sure what was expected of Richa Ghosh. And Richa Ghosh, who is your power hitter, main power hitter, Shafali, the other one. Shafali was opening the batting. But Richa Ghosh did not get enough time in the wicket to make a real difference. Unfortunately, Smriti Mandhana's bat did not do much of the talking apart from Pakistan and the Netherlands game. If you look at Harmanpreet Kaur, only 1 game, Australia. Yet another 50 against Australia, and yet another 50 in a losing cause. Well, looking at the bowlers, Amol Mazumdar says they are inexperienced. I don't think Arundhati Reddy is inexperienced, and I rate her highly. But I don't think she's inexperienced, did not bowl well at all. Deepti Sharma, no way inexperienced, a match winner for you, did not, stand up when it was needed. After Pakistan game, she did not do anything much with the ball, any impact with the, ball. The other bowlers, if you see, apart from Nandini, apart from Charni, you can say, and Kranti, rest of them are all experienced. So experience is not something that was the problem. The pattern remained the same. In the ODI World Cup, we almost, apart from 2 games, we did not play the same playing 11 in 2 consecutive matches. And it was a round-robin campaign. In 2024 World Cup, same. In 2026 World Cup, it's the same thing. Somehow, the Indian management, the leadership group of Amol Mazumdar and Harmanpreet Kaur have come under scrutiny, and why not? Yes, you have won the ODI World Cup, but the pattern remains the same. You are not being able to, learn from your mistakes. Not my words. Vice Captain Smriti Mandhana has said that we are not learning from the mistakes. We are not utilizing our talent, and that is exactly what has happened. Moving on to the only bright spot in the entire UK tour, the Lord's Test match. It was a historic Test match for me. Lords has finally become the home of cricket, because a home is a place where everything is included, everything is accepted. And women's test matches was one thing that the Lords was missing in in so many years, about 200 years, more than 200 years of Lords cricket ground. There was no women's test match, and 142 years after a men's test match played, finally women's test match was played in Lords, and we won. We've won. We performed to the fullest, never let England get in after our first innings. We bundled out for 285, but since then it was all about us. It was all about Kranti Gaur, and then it was about Yastika Bhatia. Smriti Mandhana in both the first and the second innings played a handy knock. There is only one person who should be blamed for Smriti not being in that honours board, and I'm sorry Smriti, but that's you alone, because both the wickets were a T20 shot which was not needed. Jemmy did look good, but again, a horrible tour for Jemima Rodriguez, a UK tour that she would want to forget, but she would want to redeem herself with the 100 coming. If you tell me, for me, the biggest high, honestly, was when I started. I think it's something that I kept saying this, and I have said this in a number of videos. If you tell me that whether the Lord's Test was a dream come true, no. The answer is it was not a dream come true, because I had never dreamt of this. And not only me, my friend and colleague Inakshi Rajwanshi was with me, and she is also a former cricketer. We were chatting. In fact, now she plays for MCC. We were chatting, and both of us were like, you know what? When the first ball was being bowled, we were like, you know what? This is more than a dream come true, because we had never dreamt of this. And then to think of this, the first woman cricketer who has gone on the Lord's honours board, Kranti Gaur, taking her interview, sitting at the Lord's ground. I think my UK tour there peaked. Now back to Commonwealth Games, but women's cricket coverage does not end. We will have a close look at Smriti Mandhana, Jemima Rodriguez, Richa Ghosh and Deepti Sharma, because they are playing the 100 women, which is going to start today. And what will be interesting to see in the coming days is what does when does this review happen of the World Cup, and what decision comes out of this review, because that becomes extremely important. So Asia Cup team becomes important, because Asian Games team somehow was announced the day after India was ousted of the World Cup. And then the South Africa series. A lot to watch women's cricket for, but if you ask me to rate this UK tour, I'll rate it in two ways. Professionally, talking from a journalistic point of view, nothing much to talk about apart from the Lord's Test match. Everything, most of the things, negative. But if I have to talk from a personal point of view, as somebody who has been with this sport for years, that Kranti Gaur interview remains my favorite. And not only a Kranti Gaur interview, Jemima, Richa, Yastika, we had chats with these girls, so that was the high point. It was fun, but do keep watching Rev Sports. Overall review of this series leaves more questions than answers. Is it time for the coach and the captain to be changed? Honestly, at the behest of being trolled, yes, it is time to hand over the baton to a fresh mindset. Do keep watching Rev Sports. Like, share, subscribe, and ring the notification icon. Thank you.